Hi everyone, this is Deb Tim, a Canadian girl, and this is a before and after video of Dare We Compare, because we worked very hard over the weekend getting our gardens and flower beds ready for the season, and a little update of my pond as well, so please stay tuned. This is my little raspberry garden. The canes are exactly as they were after the final melt. You can see the arches I dyed last year, and all the new canes have already started sprouting for this year's bounty. A little more work, and they will earn their place once they start producing fruit. So after a little bit of work and some cleanup, tying the canes and arches, I find is such a great way to keep the raspberries neat and easy to pick from. My rhubarb is flourishing, and last year I added this little gooseberry bush. So it is going to be a fruitful summer, I have a feeling. This is the first of my 2 raised garden beds. These are my strawberry plants. They didn't weather the winter very well at all. The plants are very small. Both gardens are the same size, 16 feet long by 8 feet across. I'm very happy to report this is hubby's job. He does the tilling for me, and once the garden's ready for planting, I get to take over and do the fun part. And here's Sweet Pea popping by again. So this is 1 week later, and hubby has cleaned up this bed and it's ready for planting. You can see my strawberry plants have done a wonderful job in coming back. Now the rest of this garden is planted with cucumbers, zucchini, and tomatoes. Once in a while I'll plant something else like either pumpkin or spaghetti squash. This is my green bed. It is one of my favorites. There is a lot of work that needs to be done here to get it looking nice again. There is new growth coming, so once I clean it up, it's going to look beautiful. I also need to touch up all my ladybugs and ornaments that adorn this bed. They get moved and shifted through the winter, all of them except for Tanis, my giant ladybug. Spring transformations are the most stunning. I call this my green bed because all the plants are green with whites and yellows. I don't have any flowers planted in this bed anymore. I did the first couple years, but I found the hostas getting so big they were hidden from view, so I moved them to places where I can appreciate them. There's my little hens and chicks. They are also ones that don't do terrific here. But as you can see, the hostas are really coming. There's Tanis. She needs to be touched up. And then these bushes across here I had to trim, and the fence needs to be replaced. But other than that, I'm very happy with how it's coming along. This is the second raised vegetable garden that hubby needs to work up for me. I have a patch of rhubarb over there on that side. And then at the far end of this garden, I always plant all the herbs and spices that I like to use in cooking. Nothing beats having fresh spices that I can just go out to the garden and clip for suppers and dinners. I plant lettuce, kale, spinach, peppers, and beans every year. But I do change things up, planting radishes or carrots as well. I find each spring brings something different to try. I also like to plant 2 rows of flowers. This is a really great practice as they attract the bees that help pollinate the plants, giving me a much more bountiful season. And here it is all ready for planting. The soil is just packed with worms this year. That's a very good sign. This week I'll be picking up seeds and some plants to get the garden planted. It's always exciting to have everything planted and then keep checking every day for the first signs of sprouts. And finally, finishing off with my favorite feature of my whole backyard is my pond. But here it certainly does not look too impressive. This is how it looked following the winter thaw. Nothing has been done to it whatsoever. It's in a sorry state. This is the part of spring that's not so appealing. The fish are still in the pond as they stayed there all winter, although the water is so dark and dirty with leaves and such that you can't see them. At this point, I don't even know for sure how well they did over the winter. Every so often, I see a flash of orange, so I know they're alive. Once I catch them, I'll have a good look and check them over to see how healthy they look. This was their very first winter staying out in the pond, so it's going to be very interesting. It's hard to believe, but here is my pond 1 week later. That's quite a transformation. When I first opened the pond in the spring, there's a certain amount of work involved, whether I keep the fish in the pond or I remove them. However, I have found that the work is more work in the spring when you keep them in the pond and there's no work in the fall. So for me, I like that better. Now I've experienced both scenarios, and in my opinion, leaving the fish out in the pond is really the way to go. So here you can see the parrot feather I added, and I also picked up 3 lettuce plants. I find they multiply so rapidly, they quickly fill in the gaps, so there's really no need to buy more than just a few. You will also notice the dorky fake water lilies. They are more for the benefit of my granddaughters than for me or the fish. See there, you can see the vibrant orange of my goldfish. And there are some more pond lettuce plants. And then some parrot feather by the waterfall. Going up the waterfall, you can see that I put my fern into its place. And on either side of the waterfall, I have 2 Gerber daisies. Daisies are my absolute favorite flower. They always have been since I was a little girl. I think it's because I could pick them in the fields around the house and give them to Mom, and they never cost me a thing, and Mom always loved them. They were kind of a step above the dandelions. The side beds around my pond are doing beautifully. Now you probably notice I added the ferns. I was cleaning out the other gardens in my yard and I had those ferns growing everywhere. So I decided I would just transplant a few around my pond. I think that they are an excellent addition. I am so thankful that I have this lovely net in place. Look at this. Heron poop. He came by just as I expected. But I am very happy to report my fish are safe and the net was a success. The goldfish are extremely dark orange and super healthy looking, so it's no wonder the heron wanted to stop by and help himself. Now there's nothing left to do but enjoy the efforts of my pond and wait for the frogs to come and visit. I tossed in a little food for the fish so that you could see how stunning and healthy they are. I think that they are going to be very happy in their lovely home this year. So until next time, this is Deb Tim signing out. Thanks so much for watching. I hope your week is off to a great start. And we'll talk to you soon. Bye.